Good morning, everyone. So, today you and I are going to talk about imports in JavaScript and something that happened the other day that I feel like I want to share it, and hopefully the story of mine will make you start thinking. At least, well, maybe it doesn't make you start thinking. Maybe it's just of me, really. This is all about me and me wanting to just share a thought about something. Let's see how it goes. So the other day I was working, and my boss, to give you a bit of context, had, when I first started, kind of asked me to have a look at the different things that the company could do in order to prevent issues with the front-end code, and maybe do a few improvements and so forth, and just have a look at things that could be better. And so the first thing I did was to do what I always do. I have a little bit of a checklist when I want to improve a project. And one of the first things I always look for is to have a look at the dependencies. That's usually where people have issues. The dependencies is always my go-to. So I go to the package.json file and I go through all of the dependencies. And on that list I see a few things. And one of the things that stand out is that they have Lodash. Bam. Immediately I know that if they're using Lodash, most likely we have an issue there immediately. Now, this is not me saying that Lodash is bad, because Lodash is probably one of my favorite libraries. It's really, really, really good. But people misuse it because they don't understand the way that you need to work with Lodash in order to avoid the issue that I see so often. So I just do a search for _dot_something, and I find, I think it was roughly 100 or 200 results in my editor, right? So the search yielded roughly 200 instances of this within the front-end code base. Now, for the juniors out there, you may not know this, and even some of you seniors out there may actually not know this, but if you import Lodash into your project, Lodash will actually load all of it by default. If you do the import, basically, if you include the whole package, what you're actually doing is that you're including every single function in that library. And odds are that you just want to use one of those functions. That's usually how it goes. And this is very similar to the sort of issue that I've talked about in the past, where people import jQuery to use the Ajax API. That's all they want, but they import all that other stuff, right? So basically what I tell my boss is that we shouldn't be doing this. The proper way of actually importing Lodash and using Lodash is that you do Lodash / because Lodash, the people who maintain that project are very clever, since it's basically all of Lodash is just pure functions. They've actually given you a convenience way, as people use, which is that basically you import the whole thing, but they also have top-level files that allow you to put a / in there and actually just grab the function directly, so you don't have to import all of the functions when you just want maybe the get function or this whichever function you're actually after, right? That's the correct way, per my definition, to do it. Now, then we start kind of talking about this kind of, I don't know, the semantics of all of this, and I said that ideally what we would do here is that we would simply do a search replace, or we would just have a story or something to go through all of these references and just update the imports so that we're simply grabbing what we need, right? And my boss basically puts forward the idea that we could use the Webpack Lodash plugin. For those of you who don't know this, there's actually a plugin that will do this for you, so that you can actually use the underscore notation, import the whole thing, that syntax, and Webpack will simply extract out the import, or this plugin will just convert what you're doing into just importing the function. Seems reasonable enough, right? Now, this was another warning bell in my head. So when my boss suggested this, I said that, well, you're kind of losing me here, my friend, because what you're suggesting is that we add another dependency to our Webpack config, because don't kid yourself, the loaders that Webpack are using for everything that you add, and I kind of just, as we were talking, I pulled out our Webpack config and I saw what I was suspecting, which was that there was tons of loaders, so many different loaders, like everything from the bare essentials for a React project to completely pointless things that just are so arbitrary. It just didn't make any sense, and I tried to make the point that if you are adding a plugins, for example, to Webpack, what you're actually doing is you're adding more work. So instead of you doing a string replace on all of these references, or just it will take maybe an hour or two max to fix this, and then educate all of the people at the company on how to actually do the import correctly so that they don't do this. The suggested solution was to add a library, and not on just adding a library, but actually adding more weight, even though it's not that much, to the build cycle. And what I want to share, why I wanted to share this, is that this is kind of the sickness that I see in front end these days. It's such a, I don't know what to call it. It just felt that I kind of felt that this it captured the problem that I see. This is why I can't agree when people tell me that front-end development isn't difficult, because if it was so easy to do these things right, then we wouldn't have these problems. These would be fairly obvious things. Because if I had turned around and said to my boss that, hey, maybe, or rather, if for a server-side developer, this would be the equivalent of you doing something that is really, really stupid for no good reason. Let's say you would do something along the lines of having a heavy network request or something like that in a database transaction. It's just not good. It's just bad form to do it. And this is, in front-end world, the equivalent. Adding more stuff so that you can avoid having to do the thing that you actually should be doing. It's just weird to me. So what I want to end on is to say that when it comes to when it comes to the size of the JavaScript that you're sending to your client, your rule of thumb should be less is more, as much as possible. So, and make sure that you actually understand how tools such as Webpack actually work before you start just using them. It's the same problem. It's basically ignorance, or not being informed as to how the tool works. Because honestly, all these people who keep telling me that server side is difficult and client and front end is so easy, why are you fucking up so bad? Because I saw back in the day, I mean, especially Java people that I was working with, they were saying that, oh, front end is so easy. And then they, as I said, and then they go and import jQuery to do the Ajax code. That's not easy. Do you see the problem? I mean, it's so, I'm sorry. Here's my tip. This is what I wanted to end on. make sure that you understand how bundlers actually work. Make sure that you understand basically how CommonJS works and how your dependencies are actually added into your bundles. And for the love of God, go and check your bundle. There are tools for that. My personal favorite one is the Webpack Bundle Analyzer. It's an amazing tool that I basically showed to my colleagues, and I could show them, these are all our dependencies. This is what we're sending to the client. Do you see that massive box that's called Lodash? That's the entire library, and it's the entire library. If we go down, and we can actually see all of the stuff inside of it, and that's there because of what that Lodash import that you're doing. And I really only wanted to say that instead of, and then of course, as I was saying, don't add more stuff in order to fix the stuff. You do the right thing. And when it comes to Lodash, the right thing is to do Lodash / method name. That's what you should be doing. And for the love of God, if you want to be a front-end developer, learn the tools, understand how they work, not just how you set them up, understand what they do. Have a great day.